Garbage men of Reddit. What is the most expensive thing you've seen someone throw out? Best friend's father was a garbage man. The most expensive thing he'd ever found would have to be a TV. This was back in the 90s, when 55 TVs cost thousands of dollars. Literally, the only thing wrong with it was the coaxial cable hookup was loose. $5 at Radio Shack for a part and he fixed it. Nowadays it's hard to give away a rear projection TV. I got a perfectly good working 46 HD rear projection TV for free. I CD LPs for free constantly. My wife has one in our storage unit, refuses to let me take it to the dump, then tries to sell it at garage sales for like $60. It's worth nothing. She won't listen. Put it on Craigslist or Facebook for free. People will still take them if they're free, but they won't pay for them. And give your wife $50 and say someone paid that, not $60. Then she'll think she could have gotten more for it. Not a garbage man but ambiental engineer. Once I was studying the trash produced in a college and found $1,500 worth of medical books still sealed and in the box. Offered it to my GFMD student. She promptly accepted. As a former medical student, I get this 100%. Those books are cute to put in a home library, but for actual medical school curriculum, they are more or less useless. You could study each and every single one of those books cover to cover, and someone who just bought a $30 copy of First Aid off of Amazon will still absolutely blow you out of the water when it comes to board scores. $1,500 worth of medical textbooks. I'm not sure what you're gonna do with a half of a textbook. Why did you put the $sign after the number? Sorry, I'm not from us here, we use the monetary symbol after. In my locality, there was a garbage man I had befriended. I always used to ask him how he was doing. He appreciated it. He used to tell me how he found absolutely disgusting things, sometimes creepy things, and of course some pretty useful and expensive stuff. He told me once he found a creepy looking doll, which had needles in it. Some cult shit. Expensive things included a TV, a cell phone, an iPad, and a lot of clothing. He also found a mixer grinder that wasn't even making a problem. Wonder why the owner threw it away. Well, he used to make decent money selling garbage. Selling garbage, selling used stuff. I sell anything and everything. If I had a sister, I'd sell her in a second. That's a little joke. Do come back. How much? It's also a little joke. Not a garbage man, but I was working for a company years ago, and I was tasked with cleaning up the workshop with one other employee. He was the boss' son, so he was technically in charge. He found a bunch of nice yellow fabric, but decided it wasn't important, so he threw it all away. Seemed too nice, so I pulled it back out of the dumpster after he left, and went to ask a senior employee about it. Turned out to be $4K worth of Kevlar, and I was thanked repeatedly for saving it. Did you happen to work for Callahan Brakes, and did the boss's son happen to be Tommy Boy? This is how real people meet real people on Reddit. Unfortunately, he was just making a joke, and I was playing along. We don't know each other. That's a pity. I already was curious to hear how things developed between two of you. Dad owns a garbage company in NJ. The authorities called, or came to the office, and asked where is the truck that just picked up XXXX township. My dad answers with the location of the truck, and the detective instructs him to immediately call the truck and tell the driver to stop where he's at. They drive out to the location of the truck together, and the detective tells the driver to eject the load. Lo and behold, a woman's body was found. For one reason or another, the murderer never took off her jewelry. Pretty harsh to go through that effort to recover the body just to get the jewelry back. It was more about recovering the body and confirming identity than retrieving the items. I know, I was intentionally misreading the ambiguous wording for comedic value. Not a garbage man, but I worked for 1800 got junk in the head office and got a call from a franchise partner. They cleared out an old house and had this old harvest table that they went to get appraised, and it was worth over $180K, and they wanted to know the legality of selling it. I gave them the go ahead, and it went to action for more than the appraisal. In all honesty, a lot of the truck drivers make more money off selling things they salvage that has been trashed than their wage. I had to do ride along with multiple franchise partners as training's my position, and then first 3 days they made about 4-5k just off metal that was salvaged each day, but that was split between the team and the owner of the franchise equally. I've worked for a dumpster company for a few years. I've found lots of stuff. One time I found an Originals box and a Nintendo 64 with Diddy Kong Racing in it. Both had remotes, and they both turned out to work. I found expensive bikes, grills, iPods, and the best thing, a free car. This wasn't in the dumpster of course, but as I was picking up a dumpster he came out and said he's tired of spending money on this car, and that he had already bought a new one, and I asked if I can take it, as long as it was towed away. It just needed a new battery and the cables were corroded. It a 95 Civic. Sold it to a co-worker. NAGM, but I have something for this. I used to run a small antique shop in a flea market, and one day another shop owner invited me to a house clean out. The owner had died, and the family was paying her to dispose of his stuff. Most of the stuff was cheap junk, and I felt like I had wasted my day. On the way out I saw a small show box full of different colored markers, and I decided to take it home for my kid. Once I got home and went to move the markers to a different container, I discovered there were 5 beautiful gold-plated pens at the bottom, made by Montblanc. Sold them on eBay for about $1,000. Not me, but a friend years ago. Sent to clean up after someone had passed away. Piles of garbage by the curb. He found a nice looking box in the mix, and before tossing it in the truck, had a look inside. Dozens of 3x5 file cards with nothing but signatures on them. LSS. The fellow's hobby for years had been writing to celebrities and asking them to sign and return an enclosed card. Most were from the 40s and 50s. He gave me Ingrid Bergman's autograph for my birthday that year. Our garbage man sits in an air-conditioned cab, extends a mechanical arm to lift and empty our bin, then sets it down and drives to the next one. I know this isn't universal, but it's more widespread every day. This question is going the way of the buggy whip. Reminds me of a Doctor Who episode where a giant killer robot looked like an ordinary office building inside, and the workers had no idea. They thought they were doing a normal job, oblivious to that their work was actually obliterating races. Not a garbage man, but went to throw stuff in our business dumpster and found over 100 unopened bottles of wine. I still don't drink wine, but yes, I collected them and sold them off to a friend. The owner had a drinking problem, and he had decided to change his life. Don't know if it worked, but he didn't last long after that. I read in the paper this was the 1980s. He died a couple years later, still in his 50s. I'm not a garbage man, but my dad is a garbage man. He threw out my great-grandmother's ashes out of anger when he and my mom were getting divorced, and he assaulted her. My mom was in foster homes her entire life, and her grandmother was the only person who loved her. It is not a surprise that she would have abandonment issues and felt the need to keep her ashes. The fact that she married a psychopath only encouraged her emotional instability. My uncle found a dumpster near an office building that was being renovated, full of mahogany wall cabinets. He took a bunch of them and put them in his garage to hold tools. It looks amazing. My uncle found a dumpster. Weird. I always see those outside people's houses. Why is everybody getting rid of them? Used to dumpster dive for scrap metal. Bought a 96 Camaro after 5 months, so not a bad time. But I once found a little office projector with the component cables in the wrong, fully functional, just the yellow was in red and the power socket still had like a socket cover. I still use it for gaming. Incredible. Not a garbage man, but a dumpster diver. I found a full PlayStation VR box and loot that had a scratched box. Some person must have dropped it and thought it was broken, and rather than returning it, they threw it away. Worked fully and I sold it cause I don't have a PlayStation. When I was in HS there was a guy who proposed to his GF on the last day of school. He was head over heels in love with her, and she wasn't into him like that. He asked, she literally cringed and said no, then he threw the ring in the trash and ran out of the room. My uncle brought home an oak wet bar with a granite countertop. Needed a solid sand, a new coat of varnish, or whatever, but we all had no idea why anyone would throw it out. Definitely cost thousands and thousands. Not a garbage man, but was friends with one. I got a perfectly functional air compressor and electric sander from him that head found. He worked in the ritziest nearby area, so I wonder how much stuff he kept for himself. By estimate, about £500 worth of luxury leather hides. I made leather Christmas presents for my friends that year and have been making things out of leather ever since. It's been 10 or so years since then. Picture of Jonathan Joestar, golden frying pan, SCP key card collection, popcorn chicken, something from someone I love. As in JoJo the everlasting incarnation of Badasseri. Not a garbage man, but I grew up dumpster diving. We found good couches, bikes, toys, in the wintertime even food that was thrown away from a grocery store. No shame in my game. Not a garbage man. An empty house down the street got cleaned out. They tossed everything by the curb, including an off-road to go-kart. Unfortunately I was too late and someone else had claimed it. I'm not a garbage man, but outside the marinas in Martinique people dispose of thousands of dollars worth of electronics, radios, depth finders, high-end GPS units. 100s, and I mean 100s of brand new, never worn, in the box women's boots, shoes, and sandals. Oh, I forgot, I'm not a garbage man. Not a garbage man, but had a really cool uncle that was. He once found 2 bins of army toys he gave to me, and found working phones, laptops and tablets for his kids. I found the premium soft top that's on my Jeep new in boxes in the trash couple years ago, nice couple $100 score. Who throws away a brand new Jeep soft top? Okay, not me. Neighbor was a garbage man, and his garage walls were lined with high-end kitchen cabinets. My SNL found a Michael Kors purse that still had the tags on it in a plastic bag. An entire photography studio worth of lighting equipment and power supplies. Guy I knew, not me. Items were unworn designer gowns with tags still on. I just came here to see how many stories start with not a garbage man but garbage men of Reddit. I instantly thought OHH something for me but then. This is a really good question. I hope some garbage men chime in. This post home doggo you can't envy him again wait can't you? Everyone is saying him not a garbage man lol. Doesn't seem to be any garbage men around. Lots of non-garbage men responses. I'm disappointed that nobody has. Is anyone actually a garbage? A perfectly good white boy.